Our next comedian has performed Laughing Liberally and has been seen on VH1 and MTV. Please welcome to the stage, Harry Terjanian.
Thank you guys so much for coming out and taking a stand in life, because I'll be honest with you, not a lot of people are angry. I'm a little miffed by that, by the lack of anger. Like we're going through like a really bad time in America right now, and yet no one seems to be angry enough, you know? No riots, no demonstrations, nothing. The president spies on us, he admits to it, no riots. A lot of angry letters to Entertainment Weekly about who got kicked off American Idol that week, but no riots. Meanwhile, if you go to Europe, they will riot for any reason whatsoever. They don't take anything from their government for 1 second. You know, you turn on the news, Nigel Smith reporting for the BBC here in downtown Paris, where just this afternoon 1 million French youths took to the street in riotous anger after learning that Raisin Bran cereal, the cereal which claims to contain 2 scoops of raisins, in fact only contains 1 3/4 scoops. They don't put up, you know. And I think the biggest problem we have in this country is the media right now. The media doesn't care about anything else except celebrity news. That's it. That's all they care about. One day you're going to turn on the news, you know, what if Paris Hilton's breast falls out of her shirt? Find out which one at 11. That's all they care about is the celebrity news, man. We don't have decent news anymore. Because they don't report things properly, because if they reported it properly, you know, like the whole weapons of mass destruction thing, that was my favorite. Like, you know, we gotta go to Iraq, they've got weapons of mass destruction. I don't know if you watched the news coverage like I did, but the Iraqis barely had weapons of regular destruction. And they made it sound like Saddam had no weapons, but he just wasn't willing to use them for some reason. Like, Saddam, they have been bombing us for 30 days now. Do you think maybe we should use one of the weapons of mass destruction? Not yet. I want to see where they're going with this. I think I got them figured out. I do comedy all over the country, even, you know, in areas where it's not popular to, still, to this day, to be against the war. People always ask me, like, what's your problem with the president? I've narrowed it down to this. I think the president is too cocky. He's a little arrogant, isn't he, sometimes? Yeah. Like, during that re-election in 2004, they asked him to name 1 mistake that he made during his first term. He couldn't think of 1 mistake. I'm like, really? You can't think of 1 mistake? Why don't you start with grammar and then work your way up? Baby steps, Mr. President, that's all I'm saying. I knew that, you know, I knew there was a problem when they hired Ashcroft. That's when I knew things were going downhill. Ashcroft, who, by the way, is the first member of the Bush administration actually to be forced to resign. And what does that say about you when you're too crazy to work for the Bush administration? When Cheney's just like, I can't work with that maniac. I can't deal with him anymore. I'm not putting up with him. No, but now the president, that's the part that scares me, you know. He hired, Ashcroft was so right-wing religious that he wouldn't dance. He thought dancing was a sin. So basically, Bush hired the minister from Footloose to be our attorney general. It's a great plan. That's the part that scares me most about this administration, is their whole right-wing thing. We have a president right now who actually claims that God has spoken to him. He claims that he has had conversations with God. And boy, what a great conversation that must be from God's end, huh? You're the creator of all mankind, and now you're stuck biting your tongue because you don't want to go, hey, it's pronounced nuclear, not nuclear. Nuclear. How did you end up in charge? There is no me. There can't be. I would never let this happen. That's the scary part to me, man, the whole right-wing religious thing. Can't do anything in this country. Can't do stem cell research. Can't have that, you know. Can't do anything to prevent, you know, Alzheimer's and all those things. Because God has a plan. We can't interfere with God's plan. We go like, God has a plan. Hey, you know who else had a plan? Hitler. Hitler had a plan. Okay, O.J. Simpson had a plan. Just because you have a plan doesn't mean it's a good one. I had a plan to move out of my parents' basement before I was 23. That plan didn't pan out. Can't do any, you know, can't do anything in this country anymore without them interfering. You know, abortions now, that can't happen. Can't do it. No, man, can't do it. They don't want to allow it to happen because, you know, all life is precious. And life is precious. Like, really? Have you ever been to Long Island? It's not that precious. You take a stop to Ronkonkoma and then you tell me if every life is precious. If you watch Cops back to back on Saturday night and then you tell me if all life is precious. I love that concept. Life is precious. And gay marriage, can't do that, and you can't have gay marriage in this country. Like, here's my stance on gay marriage. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care what you do. I don't care what your family does. As long as it doesn't screw up my TV reception, I don't care. That's it. That's all. But I love people who care like way too much about it. You know, like if you let a man marry another man, what are you going to say when a man decides to marry a horse? What do you say? I don't know. Welcome to Alabama. What do you say? Don't really keep me up at night, man. The whole gay marriage, that scares me so much. It's the people who represent it too. Just, you know, people like Pat Robertson get to speak on behalf of religion. You know, Pat Robertson says something stupid every night of the week on his television program. My favorite thing he said, though, was he blamed Hurricane Katrina and the tsunami on God's wrath against gays. So basically, Pat Robertson thinks that gay people control the weather. And I say, screw it, let's let Pat Robertson do a weather report every night of the week. Like, hey, Pat, what's it going to be like out there? Well, I'll tell you. I was at a local shop mall this morning. I saw two men holding hands, so that's going to bring in a cold front from the north. And I read a story about a black man receiving a promotion, so you might want to take your galoshes when you leave the house. It's going to be wet out there. Just the whole stand is just so bizarre to me, you know? Just, you know, God hates fags. I don't know, man. I listen to Queen's Greatest Hits. I don't think God hates fags. You know, if Love and Tiny Dancer by Elton John is wrong, screw it, then I don't want to be right. But then part of me wonders, like, what if they're right? What if that's what God is? What if God is just a racist redneck? Like, you show up in heaven, there's just a rebel flag hanging in the background. You hear Leonard Skinner playing over the loudspeakers. Like, oh my God, is that Freebird? That can't be good. God walks up to you wearing cowboy boots and a giant belt buckle that says God on the front of it. Hey, welcome to heaven. You come at a good time. It's NASCAR night. Like, hey, you know what, God? I'm going to go to hell if you don't mind, actually. I hear they're reading down there, so that should be just so amazing, man. The whole game, man, it's just insane. The emphasis we put on religion in this country, it's amazing. And I'm not bashing religion. My parents are I'm just scared of religious oppression. That's what worries me. And I know a little something about religious oppression. My mother's Catholic, so I know. I understand a little something about how that works. Because we give a lot of power to religion in this country for some reason. Like the Catholic Church, actually. I had this discussion with my mom about the Catholic Church and how the Catholic Church didn't want to cooperate with the police during their scandal because they wanted to conduct their own investigation. I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know you could just conduct your own investigation. Give that a try the next time you get pulled over by the police. See if that works for you. Listen, officer, I'm fully aware that there have been a lot of allegations about me getting really drunk and then driving through the Little League baseball field. But I can assure you my men and I are looking into the matter, and we'll give you a call as soon as we hear anything. Give that a try and see if you don't get clubbed in the face for 10 minutes at a time. If you're afforded the same rights as the lovely Catholic Church. That's the part, man. That's so much power. And the thing is, like, I'm not anti-religion, but I've always, even when I was a little kid, it always kind of scared me. Like, what if I'm on the wrong team? Like, what if I'm not, you know? Because I love we put this emphasis on religion that you know, we mock other people's religion, which I think is fantastic. Like, if you look at history, like, oh, those stupid Aztecs and their sun god, how silly of them. Like, yeah, but you know what? At least you can see the sun. It rises and sets every night of the week. It didn't show up once 2,000 years ago and then promised to return later on. Like some deadbeat dad